In this part, I just want to say a little bit about the mathematics and philosophy degree courses offered here at Oxford. So to begin with, who is maths and philosophy for? What sort of students might think of applying for this degree? Well, I suppose the obvious thing to say here is that the degree is intended for students who find themselves really enjoying and thriving at mathematics, who also meet one further criterion, namely being interested in philosophy. Now, it's important to really emphasize that being interested in philosophy need not mean is already studying philosophy at school or at college. And indeed, a great many of our successful applicants don't have an A level or equivalent background in philosophy. On the other hand, being interested in philosophy may well mean that you're starting to read a bit of philosophy, or perhaps it means that you're having discussions with friends or teachers that might reasonably be described as being a bit philosophical, or perhaps it means that you're finding videos on the internet of people discussing philosophy. Any of these activities may well be signs that you have an interest in philosophy. The other thing I want to say about who mathematics and philosophy is for has a slightly more practical side for it. So I think a nice feature of this degree is that it combines a science in the form of mathematics with a humanities subject, namely philosophy. And I think this is something that if after 3 or 4 years of study you want to go out and seek gainful employment, gives you a bit of an edge. Because I think employers really value scientists and especially mathematicians. But I think there's slightly different reasons why employers like applicants who have a background in the humanities. And so if you're able to combine both sets of skills, that's a really nice thing to have. So I want to say a little bit now about the undergraduate courses in mathematics and philosophy that we offer. And actually, there are two of them. So one is a 3-year BA in mathematics and philosophy. And in the first year, you study for a set of exams we call prelims. And then years 2 and 3 are known as Part A and Part B. Now, the way we do things here at Oxford is that if you're doing maths and philosophy, you're always studying those subjects side by side. So in your prelims year, in your first year, you'll spend roughly half your time being a mathematician. You'll be in the same analysis and algebra and probability lectures as the other mathematicians doing the same problem sheets as them, going to their tutorials and classes. The other half of the week, you'll be in with the philosophy students, and then you'll be reading philosophy and learning logic and writing essays and attending philosophy tutorials. And that same pattern continues in the second and third year. So you'll spend roughly half your time being a mathematician and roughly half your time being a student of philosophy. Now, when it comes to the philosophy in second and third year, you have a very wide range of options available to you. So the philosophy of mathematics is part of it, but a comparatively small part. So if you want to go back and look at the great dead philosophers, if you want to study Plato and Aristotle, you can do so. Or if you want to look at Descartes and Hume and Locke and Leibniz, if you want to study Kant, those options are available to you. Or you might prefer to focus entirely on philosophy that's been written in the last century or so. You might take a more systematic route through philosophy. Perhaps you'll study metaphysics and epistemology, or perhaps you'll get into the philosophy of mind and philosophy of cognitive science. Or you might instead decide to focus more on the practical side of philosophy and study ethics and aesthetics. So really, there's a tremendous choice available to you in terms of routes through the degree, and a good deal of freedom in choosing exactly which bits of philosophy you decide to study. So if after 3 years you want to leave with a 3-year BA, you're welcome to do so. Alternatively, and this is a decision you can make on course, you can stay on for a 4th year, and after that year you would leave with a master's degree known as the MPhil. Now, in that master's year, you have very considerable freedom. So you can choose, if you want to specialize 100% in mathematics, or you can choose to specialize entirely in philosophy, or if you prefer to, you can keep both subjects up at master's level side by side. So that just about brings me to the end of everything I wanted to say in this open day session. There's a huge amount of additional information on the internet. So not only on the university web pages, but also on the web pages of individual colleges. But to get you started, I just wanted to finish with a single link that you might like to click on if you're interested in finding out a bit more. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.